How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Wrong screen. Hello. Wrong screen. There we go. How's everyone doing? And I'm not even set up properly. Alexa, turn on koi pond. Alexa, lights on. There we go. Now we're set up properly. There's one more thing to do that I forgot, which is adjust the camera settings a little bit. So let me just quickly do that. Boom, bop, pow, pow, pow. And camera settings are now back to what they're supposed to be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Wednesday post FOMC market prep stream with your host TraderPrad. We're here. We made it. But boy, oh boy, was today a little hard for the FOMC traders. Market just whipsawing back and forth, trapping people on both sides, trapping people to the long, trapping people to the short, and just going crazy all over the place at the end of the day. But at the end, ending red. Surprisingly enough, now, however, we got the market actually going higher. Dieter pointed it out that the market had a pop just now. I pulled up the Think with Bookmap stream and I saw the market with a beautiful pop to the upside. Is this pop, this after hour pop on the market, the move that starts the upside move on the market, or is it a trap where we go back into today's high and then we flush back from today's high into the downside on the market? Because we had a 50 beeps rate cut today, right? One of the biggest rate cuts the market has seen in a while, since 2020, basically. Since 2020, market seeing its first rate cut, a big rate cut, and even then, the market did not have enough juice to end green. Market did not have enough juice to get above the all-time high and stay above the all-time high. This to me sounds like a simple math equation, right? How does the market move? Demand, supply. The math equation simply tells you that there were a lot more sellers today than there were buyers. That is a simple math equation. So does this now result to as John Vaughn just mentioned. Ooh, wrong chat. Yeah, okay, that's the one. John Vaughn just mentioned. It's hopefully it's not a free fall Thursday. He says. I personally think it's going to set up for somewhat of a free fall Thursday to a free fall Friday because of how lackluster the buying was. You got a 50 beeps rate cut. However, we kind of talked about this a little bit, right? It could be potentially be by the rumor news. The rumor has been getting bought. We've been pricing in the rate cut. But all of a sudden, when the news comes, usually market sells off the market on the news event itself, and that may be the news event that we're seeing, maybe the action that we're seeing today. Lots of whipsaw back and forth and so on the S&P 500. But what happens tomorrow? That's the main question. What happens tomorrow? How can we take advantage on the market after today's reaction? And that's what we're here for, to go through some of the movers from today, talk about all the potential that the market is setting up with, where can we trade certain stocks, and how can we trade certain stocks so we can hopefully make some good dollar cheese, baby dollar bills, y'all. So looking to help you guys out on that side as I prepare for my watch list tonight. And if you guys have any specific names you want me to take a look at, feel free to throw it in the chat, because tonight's watch list is going to be very, very simple. We're not looking at extra fat. We're not looking at extra stocks. We're only going to be looking at QQQ and the Mag 7 basically. There could be tons of other stocks out there that could be interesting, but for me, I want to take advantage of tomorrow's sell-off on the Magnificent 7, if there is a sell-off, that is, right? Right now, what we're watching in the market is a big rally to the upside, but if there is a sell-off, I want to take advantage of that on the S&P 500, on the QQQ directly, and even on the Magnificent 7. All other stocks to me are basically irrelevant. That being said, we do have a bunch of other stocks on the watch list besides Mag 7 and the QQQ, so we will go through some of them. But for the most part, today's stream going to be short and sweet, just like your PP, right? It's gonna be short and sweet, and I don't know if it's sweet or not. I haven't tasted it, so nor do I want to. But short and sweet, just like your PP. We're gonna keep the watch list small, get ready for the movers, focus in on a couple names, and then smash those opportunities that they set up. So why don't we go to the full screen? Before we do that, let's say hello to our wonderful viewers. We got TH and Dieter. TH number 2 again. TH gonna complain that you know, the YouTube alerts didn't go off for him, and that's why he's late. Oh, YouTube alerts! It's always YouTube alerts' fault. That didn't stop Dieter though. That didn't stop Dieter, TH. But no, always love to see you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. TH, I know you deleted this comment, but the comment is still in this platform that allows me to display comments. So the comment LUNT, no, it was LUNR. TH, LUNR is the stock. Not too long ago was sending a lunar rover through SpaceX. That rover crashed, and I remember trading that event on LUNR. Today they got, I don't want to misquote the number, but I think it was $5 billion. Oh God. Ooh. Ooh, that Zen hit me hard. I'm gonna need to go take a shit now. Ooh, that Zen hit hard. All right. LUNR, I believe it was a $5 billion contract that they got from NASA. Obviously, that's how these these tech companies, the space companies, aerospace companies work. They need to solve a problem that NASA has. NASA has all the money, so NASA gives contracts out to SpaceX, to Boeing. We all know how that Boeing contract went, right? NASA gives contracts out to SpaceX, to Boeing. They give out money. SpaceX solves the problem that NASA needs to be solved. They share the technologies with each other. And at the end of the day, the company gets to keep a good sum of money out of it. So $5 billion, I believe, was the number that LUNR was able to get awarded for their new contract. That popped the stock up almost 38% upside. So that's a beautiful move over there. However, it basically traded sideways all day. Maybe there's opportunities on that tomorrow, or tomorrow to the upside or the downside. So we'll plan for that and all other fun stuff. And for that, we'll be heading over to our beautiful full screen. So let's head over to full screen real quick and show you guys some of the names that are on the watch list. This watch list will seem very familiar to you because it's basically yesterday's watch list. But as I mentioned at the start of the stream, the main names that we're going to care about are going to be the Magnificent Seven and the ETFs themselves. That's going to be our main area of focus because FOMC, baby, post FOMC permutations. That's what we're planning out. If you threw an anchored VWAP from the 2 o'clock area, you can see how the stock kind of chopped around that VWAP and then basically chopped around. Today's VWAP chopped around in the whole $3, $4 range that this market was in and didn't really do too much. Yeah, we're getting a pop over here in the after hour going into the close. And for that, I do have Bookmap open. Look at that beautiful pop on the S&P 500 futures going into the after hours over here, going into the overnight session. A little bit of a pullback, but still managing to find buyers at a higher low and now curl back up for the S&P 500 future. So looking good a little bit over there. But is this just a trap, right? You guys have all seen that meme. It's a trap. It's a trap, right? Is this just a trap being sprung on by the bulls to trap more longs, and then eventually tomorrow we pull the rugs on all the bulls and flush it back to the downside into 560, where we actually managed to bounce from 561. But that 560 area on S&P 500 is going to be the dictator for what happens across the board tomorrow. So if the market is able to take out that Monday low over there into $560, I think we have a big room to the downside that's going to open up. But if we continue to stay above 560, 561, and the market, which is already making a move to the upside right now as we speak, this is going to be important, because the 50 beeps cut is finally being kind of priced into the market move, and we're getting ready to bounce back up. So here's a couple permutations that I have on watch. I'm going to just patiently watch 560 and below. I'm going to patiently watch 565 and above, even though we have some levels above 565 now. If the market can successfully stay above 565 to 566, that is bullish enough for me to start thinking long. But not able to get above and stay above here, or getting below and not being able to stay above 560, that is the trigger pull action. You're not going to have much time to make the decision to take a trade, but when you do, pull that trigger and be ready for that big flush incoming. So that is my permutations over there that I'm looking for on the market. I know some of you are bullish. I know some of you are looking for market to go back up and not for a free fall Thursday or a free fall Friday. But be ready, guys, be ready. It's not a good look for the market to end red after the biggest rate cut the market has seen in 4 years. Biggest rate cut the market has seen in 4 years. QQQ also has a similar level to the S&P 500. The Monday low right there around $471. That's 470. So around 470, QQQ opens up a $5 room to the downside to 465, and then even bigger room to the downside to 460. A $10 room for QQQ would basically be one ATR worth of a move. So watching if we can get that one ATR move tomorrow to take some action on this bad boy. Victor's in the house. What's up, Victor? Always good to see you. I saw your message that said that your portfolio was doing well, but Victor also is looking for a possible correction coming into the market very soon. TH is looking for a possible correction coming into the market very soon. So all of that is basically bearish sentiment, right? We got a lot of people over here with bearish sentiment. You can add me in the basket. When do I never have a bearish sentiment? I mean, I got a bear right here hanging on my microphone Just to show you how big of a bear sentiment guy I am always, you can call me Pradbury, right? Pradbury, Cadbury, Pradbury, Michael Burry. You can call me Pradbury because of the amount of times I scream short on the market, the amount of times I look to get short on things in general, but I'm not screaming doomsday here. I think a healthy correction is good for the market. A pullback, we've recently seen a pullback in August. We also saw a pullback in September, but that September pullback got corrected very quickly. Usually the QQQ is a lot stronger than the S&P 500, but now we're seeing a completely different parameter. We're seeing QQQ be a lot weaker. The tech sector is taking a little bit of damage, whereas the S&P 500 at all-time high, trying to break out above all-time high. QQQ still 4% away from all-time high. That's we're here. We're about 3% away from all-time high on the QQQ. Wait, that's not even the all-time high. Okay, I was right. 4 or 5% away from all-time highs on the QQQ, whereas the S&P 500 is literally dancing around this level. We take out the all-time high yesterday and we failed to stay above it. Today we take out the all-time high again and we failed to stay above it. That's clearly showing you an imbalance of buyers and sellers. Like I mentioned at the start of the stream, simple math. The market moves on demand and supply. Simple economics. Right now, there's not enough demand to start looking for a bigger move past the all-time high. Clearly, buyers are not able to defend, and sellers, let it be profit takers, let it be short sellers, they are overpowering the buying demand. Basically, there's more supply than there is demand, so we're getting stuff down a little bit. If these characteristics continue to carry on for the next week or two or so, that's not a good recipe for the longs. We also have a big economic event tomorrow. I think this one right here, the jobless claims, that's going to most likely dictate where the market goes for the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for this 830 number. If this 830 number comes out a little bit hotter than expected, meaning weaker, if it comes out weaker than expected, then that's not the best signs for the market. Yeah, we've heard Powell talk today. I'll be honest with you though, I was completely distracted when Powell was talking or when he was being asked questions, because I mean, how do you focus on the meeting when you got a beautiful woman like these asking questions? I didn't pay attention to a single goddamn word that was being said. My inner Coomer was just lost. Look at this beautiful woman over here. You can't be having women these cute asking questions to Powell, because traders like me are no longer paying attention to the market. We're just listening to how cute she sounds. We're just listening to or looking at how cute she is. All jokes aside though, in the meeting he did talk about how resilient the market is looking now, how we went from 7% to 2.9% on the inflation or something along those words. I could be misquoting the numbers, but in that same range over there, from 7 to 2% range. Also talked about labor market looking better, talking about economy looking better. I don't remember him saying anything along the words that they are more than ready to raise interest rates again if they needed to. I can't remember him saying that, so I don't think he said anything along those words. But if things like that were said, then that is the hawkish sentiment that we were talking about yesterday on stream. Watch out for what he talks about. See how he answers the questions. Are they talking about more rate cuts in the future, which they were, but he will also mention that there are a bunch of numbers coming out before the next FOMC, which is November 7th, if I remember accurately. November 7th, next FOMC, and there's a bunch of numbers coming out before that. So those numbers are going to have some impact on the possible continuation of rate cuts, or a possible rate pause, or worse come worse, a rate hike. How bad would that look on the FOMC, the federal committee, and the current, I almost called it a regime, not regime, but what do you call it? The current political power. How bad would it look on them if the interest rates were to get hiked up again? So market still not sure, in my opinion. Are we in the right direction or not. And these economic events coming out in the next few days, next few weeks, will basically be dictating. FOMC, big nothing burger. I would urge people to throw in an anchored VWAP from 2 o'clock. So make sure you have an anchored VWAP from 2 o'clock set into your platforms right there, and this will be a big indicator as to, is the market getting ready for a long run, or is the market getting ready for a short run. So right now we are above the anchored VWAP. We're above yesterday's VWAP, today's VWAP, 2 o'clock VWAP. So we're above all VWAPs also happening to intersect around the same price. So this right here is almost a golden level. So as long as the QQQ market and the S&P 500, both of which have all the VWAPs coming in at the same price, if we're able to stay above that price, I think buying is clearly in play. But if we're not able to stay above this purple anchored VWAP that I have mapped out right now, then that is basically a recipe for weakness, showing you that if this is the average price for the 2 o'clock action and we're not able to stay above the average price of the 2 o'clock action, then the average price for the 2 o'clock action most likely was bearish, and the people who were selling in this area are once again in power tomorrow, getting ready to ride it to the downside. On the opposite flip of that idea, if we are staying above this anchored VWAP, then that shows you that the buyers from the 2 o'clock action are now in control, and they're getting ready to push this market right back to the upside, burn the shorts, make them fear for their trades, make them fear for their lives, and run up the market. So this is going to be a very, very important price area for me, where all of these anchored VWAPs are merging into. So keep a mental note of where these prices are, so you can watch them. For those of you who don't have abilities to throw in anchored VWAPs on your charts, just keep a mental note of where these anchored VWAPs are ending, right around 563 to 564. So it's at a dollar range between 563 to 564. As long as it stays above it, I think we got a beautiful long coming in. But if we start getting below it and then we push into 560, which is that Monday low, which is to this week's low, pushing into this week's low and finding weakness into that 560 area, really opens up the downside across the board. So either way, no matter what the market does, we have possible expansions getting ready to be put in the market. Hopefully the jobless numbers, is it jobless? Continuing jobless, right? Yeah, continuing jobless, initial jobless claims as they come out. Don't want it to be a nothing burger event, right? We've already seen how much of a nothing burger event the FOMC was. We want to hope that that jobless claim numbers are not going to be another big nothing burger event. That's going to be boring. Very, very boring. Don't want to see more consolidation in this area. Let's start breaking down, or let's start breaking higher. Start deciding what you want to do and do it already. God damn it, do it. So S&P 500, QQQ, those are the permutations that I'm watching. Mainly bearish. I apologize if you don't like that sentiment. Mainly bearish sentiment. Looking to smash the shorts if they set up, especially on stocks such as Tesla. We were looking for Tesla to get above 235. It struggled, and then it pushed right back. That was a beautiful short setup. Affirm tried to get above 45, and if you were actually watching the tape at 45, it had a lot of iceberg action. For those of you who don't know what iceberg is, no, it's not the lettuce. Iceberg refers to what actually an iceberg is. An iceberg shows you a little bit of ice on top of the water, but really at the bottom of the water where you can't see, it's a big, massive boulder of rock. Not ice, it's just a boulder of rock. You're running into a boulder, and your ship's gonna, get damaged and get wrecked, aka Titanic. So the iceberg is basically derived from there. The idea is there's only a minimum lot size, let's say 100 shares, being displayed on the offer, but the amount of size being printed into 45 is just non-stop. So there is a clear seller into 45 and slightly above 45. So let me show you the action on the chart here a little bit. Bang. multiple days. We go into $45, we sell off. $45, we sell off. $45, we sell off. $45, we sell off again. And then here comes the 2 o'clock FOMC move, a big whip past 45 that gets stuffed all the way down to 43. And then 43 buyer goes, not on my watch. He runs up the stock insanely to the upside. Then the 45 seller goes, okay, I'm not going to sell at 45, but I'm going to watch patiently as the market whipsaws back and forth. And if the market whips back to the downside, I'm going to hammer the short again. So the seller into 45 stopped selling at 45 and then just moved his order to the upside. And when the market looked weak, just hammered the stock right back down, at which point the buyer into 43 probably backed off a little bit. They did still prop the stock up from this 43 area, but they kind of backed off a little bit going into the close because they probably perceived the market weak. They probably perceived the FOMC to be a little bit of a bearish move overall. And the battle between 45 to 43 here on a firm was just beautiful to watch. If you were watching it on the tape, it was marvelous. Perfect example of what an iceberg trade looks like. However, the overall idea here is this just looks like a fail break of 45. Nice, beautiful fail break of 45 on AFRM. Not saying that it gets stuffed all the way back down to 37, but with this recipe here that we just played out, not able to stay above 45, opens up some room to the downside, especially if the market cracks back down. So if the market sells off and a firm is trying to take out today's low or yesterday's low around $43, you got room down to 40, you got room down to 37 to take advantage on this position. Clear seller into this $45 for us to take action off of. So watching a firm tomorrow without a doubt. However, flip that coin. There's not only one side of the coin, right? There's two sides of the coin. Well, technically three sides of the coin if it ends flat. But the other side of the coin is, let's say a market is actually strong. A firm is strong along with the market. We bounce off of 43 again and we're running back into 45. And now around 45, we see more action, and that action is actually a losing action for the seller, and the buyers are in control. So getting back above 45, looking for a move into 45.50. You're analyzing if 45.50 has that seller, or if that seller has now walked away because they are done selling, or they just realized that short selling the stock is no longer profitable because the buyers are insane and they just back away from that position at that point. They might cover for a loss. If they're short sellers, they're not just taking profits. If they're short sellers, their stops might blow out. They might cover for a loss, and all of that gives you extra oomph, extra juice to the upside on a firm. So two sides of the coin there. A reject around this area that has been having a lot of action, or a pop above this area and a hold above this area. How do you quantify a hold? It's about 15 to 30 minutes above this area would be a decent enough opportunity to start looking long. You can't be trading it on the 1 minute and be like, oh, it broke above 45.50 and it held above 45.50 for 1 minute. That's not enough for me. I want to see a big ramp up above 45. I want to see the stock pull back into 45 or 45.50, whatever it is, and actually find buying above there on a 5-minute chart. That's important. If we're not able to show buying above there on a 5-minute chart, it's almost irrelevant to me. It could just be another failed breakout and then sells back below 45 to $43 very easily. So keep an eye out for this one tomorrow. It is getting a little active. Because how whipsawy and back and forth the market was, the XLF didn't really do too much, but it did have, with the whole market, a bearish close. So if the market tomorrow, once again, all of these are just going to tie with the market. The market's going to be the big dictator of where most of these stocks are going to go to. And that's why I said at the start of the stream, today's stream is going to be a lot about QQQ and the S&P 500. And we're going to be mainly focusing on those along with the Magnificent Seven. So wherever the market goes, that's where these stocks will go to. Look at Apple reclaiming that 217 area and running back back into almost 224. One of the most strongest stocks today, honestly, because look at Tesla. Tesla ended green. Look at Meta. Meta ended barely green. Microsoft ended barely green. Well, Microsoft actually ended 1% to the red side. Nvidia, I think, flat. Ooh, Nvidia down, actually. I didn't see that coming in. Nvidia down 1.9%. What's the last one that I'm missing? Amazon, I think green. Ooh, down 0.24% on Amazon. So every single mega cap stock, Mag 7 exactly, ended red. Whereas Apple, which was the weakest stock yesterday, was the strongest stock today. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? So I'm not saying Apple is getting ready for a long move over here. I think this pop is just because you know, we had a pretty decent sell-off not too long ago, and some buyers think that there's still value for Apple. Those buyers are going to be proven wrong very soon. Just be ready for it. I've given enough rants about Apple yesterday and the last few days for you guys. I don't want to rant about Apple more and why Apple sucks, but I'm looking for weakness into 224. I don't think the stock has staying power above $224. We also have Victor talking about picking up more shares short of Apple next week. I like the idea. You know, S&P 500 rebalance. Apple is inside the S&P 500. Obviously, it's the top stock of the S&P 500. If I remember correctly, spyetf.com. Gonna dox me, so let me quickly hide my screen. Don't dox me. All right, there we go. The screen is back. So, oh, Microsoft is actually the top holding of S&P 500. Let me hide my screen again because I don't want to get doxed. But on QQQ, Apple is 8.72%. So QQQ has its highest portfolio allocation to Apple, whereas S&P 500 has its highest allocation to Microsoft, which I think QQQ will eventually change to. All of these are based on market cap. Whenever Apple's market cap gets below Microsoft, they're going to re-weight it, and they're going to have Microsoft at the highest percentage and Apple at the second highest percentage, most likely. There was a brief moment in history where Nvidia was getting ready to be the #1 company, but then very quickly Apple came over and took over that spot. Microsoft came over and took over that spot. It looked like Nvidia was going to be the most valuable company in the world for a very brief moment. They got up to #3 or 4th, if I remember correctly, and then sadly pushed back to the downside. Anyways, that's not the topic we're talking about. We're talking about Apple and how it has a lot of weightage in the S&P 500, and when the S&P 500 rebalances this Friday going into Monday morning, there could be an index action over here on Apple. Apple could possibly be sold off the S&P 500, not completely, but they might sell off some shares on the S&P 500 index. They might buy more shares of the Apple stock on the S&P 500 index. We don't know what the action is, but it's always good to just wait and then decide after. So I like that you said you will pick up more shares short next week. I wish I could short on my cash account. My cash account is clearly long only, so I can't short on stocks. I think I can buy puts. I could buy puts. Yeah, I could buy puts. Apple put does not sound like a wrong idea at all. We got TH coming in with some fresh news. Ding, 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 ding. Fresh news, fresh news. Get your newspaper here. Apple sales in China are down. But very soon, Apple sales across the world are going to be down. This is not me being really bearish and anti-Apple as I've always been. These are just facts. These are just facts. These are just numbers. Numbers don't lie. Women lie, men lie. Numbers don't lie. So Apple numbers not looking the healthiest. So any pop on Apple, I'm just looking to get ready to short this position. At the moment, yeah, it's holding above 217. Bullish move above 217. Strongest stock on the day. Maybe not the strongest stock on the day, but strongest Magnificent 7 stock on the day. And has no reason, has no right to be in that basket. Has no right, has no reason to be the strongest stock in the basket. Looking to chase the stock to the downside if it starts showing me weakness. Couple other stocks that already sold off a little bit today along with the market, but I think these are not triggers to short the stock, right? These are triggers to keep an eye on them. I think these will be very, very in line with whatever the overall market does, whereas Apple, I think the higher it goes, the better it is for the short. So be careful when you're trying to apply that same mentality for Google, for Amazon, for Microsoft, and so on. Microsoft recently announced that they're going to partner up with BlackRock. This was a funny picture. I saw this picture today. This was a funny picture. So monopolies are not allowed in the America, right? Monopolies are banned in America. No monopoly. If you have a monopoly, we are going to break you down. And then you have BlackRock, which basically owns every single goddamn company in the world. Okay, so what happened over here then, government? Why aren't we stepping in and breaking BlackRock apart? Yeah, fine, they're a third-party investor. Yeah, fine, they just have, a little bit of every single company, and they're not really making decisions as to what the company does. I call bullshit. When you own so many shares of a company as a Microsoft and Amazon, you have a seat on the board. Maybe BlackRock doesn't have a seat on the board, but I call bullshit on that. So what happened to this company when we're talking about monopoly? Like, look at the amount of stocks that they have on their portfolio. Insane. But then we're gonna step in over here and break up Alphabet because Alphabet owns too many things. They own YouTube, they own Google, they own... What else did Google even own? I don't even know. Fitbit, they own Fitbit, they own Vase. Yeah, we can't have these guys being a monopoly. Yeah. The government makes no goddamn sense, man. The government's so stupid. Yeah, we're gonna break up Google. Google owning everything. The South Park characters. That's what comes to my head when I think about the government. South Park characters. So yeah. Anyways, Microsoft and BlackRock teaming up to facilitate more AI capabilities and facilitate AI servers, AI cloud computing, and so on. Good partnership, if you ask me, right? More opportunities to other companies to use AI who previously have not been able to do so. But I don't think it's a news catalyst. It's a event to trade out of. It's just a news catalyst. Yeah, they're blowing more money into the AI part. We've seen how their previous AI investment, which was OpenAI, when they invested in OpenAI, Microsoft valuations flew through the roof, right? Flew through the roof, and they're trying to kind of ride those coattails a little bit. Let's throw more money into AI, and hopefully that nets us better return. One thing that Victor H Investing said on what was it, Tuesday, which was yesterday on the morning stream that Victor H and I did, he said something very good. I'm trying to remember exactly the wordings. It was, the stock is not the price and the price is not the stock. Well, no, sorry, the company's not the price of the stock and the stock price is not the company. Basically saying, the company might be doing great, but the price could still come down. It could still be overvalued. So we'll see if Microsoft does something like that. For example, DG, they make what, $5 a year? They make $1.70 per quarter. But even then, DG got smoked to the downside, right? Companies that actually make money, they actually have a lot of operating stores around the world, but the stock price is not the company and the company is not the stock price. Don't ever get married to your price. Don't get married to the company. You're in the stock game to make profits, and that's the name of the game. Make profits, hit it, and quit it. Don't marry the stock. Do not marry any position. The company is not the stock price, and the stock price is not the company. Thank you, Victor. for helping me out in phrasing that. Yeah, I was struggling with saying that. I was trying to remember what you said, but you helped me out. The company is not the stock price, and the stock price is not the company. So golden rule over there, something that I'm going to say more. That way it sticks in my head longer. I'm going to say it out loud more so it sticks in my head longer. And that way, you know, you just know to hit it and quit it. Hit and run. Hit and run. Right? You don't want to stay too long on the murder scene too. Just hit it and run. If the cops catch you afterwards, they catch you, but hit and run. DG, not even on the watch list, but just felt like bringing that up to show you how the company might be doing okay, but they do get crushed. Tesla 235, a beautiful level, but we're just not able to stay above that 235. So we got a nice pop in the after hour over here for the overall market. Does that take Tesla back into 235 again and have a little bit of a possible bull flag setting up for us to take the breakout past 235? Or does Tesla struggle around this area again and sell right back to the downside? So we got a nice little box range coming in on Tesla right above 225 to 235. So about a $10 range here. Tesla's ATR is exactly $10.32. So it makes sense that it has a $10 range. And if we're able to get below either 225 or get above 235 and stay strong above 235 or stay weak below 225, that opens up some room on either side. We got a compression. Basically, this is an analogy given to me by my manager. Think of it as a spring. When you're compressing a spring tighter and tighter, let me bring the camera up. When you're compressing a spring tighter and tighter and tighter, eventually the spring goes to either on one side or the other side. Whichever side becomes weak, the weak side breaks and the spring flies to the side, right? So think of it like that. We got an action between a buyer and a seller, and the stock or the market, whatever it is, it's compressing. The buyers are moving lower, the sellers are moving the buyers are moving higher, the sellers are moving lower, and we're compressing. Eventually, when the buyer knocks out the seller or the seller knocks out the buyer and they fall down, that compression now expands and we get a volatility burst on either side, either to the upside or the downside. So think of it as a compression. Yes, compression ranges are boring. They're not fun to talk about, but when the compression ends, that's when the fun begins. That's when the fun begins. So watching how this compression pattern breaks out, and when it breaks out, how can we take advantage for it? Nvidia, Apple, and Tesla are mainly the three Magnificent Seven stocks that I'm going to be watching off the open tomorrow. Nvidia finally breaking back to the downside and looking weak one more time. So any pops into these ranges, do we see selling again? Do we go back into this anchored VWAP from where is that anchored VWAP from? Wow, 2 earnings reports ago that we're finding buying above. So can we move right back into that anchored VWAP? I'll even throw in the August 5th anchored VWAP, which is where the stock exactly is. The earnings anchored VWAP, the August 5th anchored VWAP, both around the same price. Golden level right there, golden level. If you were to throw in anchored VWAP from the all-time high, it also lands around that very same price. So you have what we call a VWAP sandwich, right? What am I? Idiot sandwich. What you have right now is a VWAP sandwich. For those of you who got that reference, shout out to you. But if you didn't get that reference, I'm disappointed in you. What are you? An idiot sandwich. Idiot sandwich what? Idiot sandwich chef. Okay, Nvidia in a beautiful VWAP sandwich, all of which are confluencing at the same price. So if we get a reject around this price, a beautiful move down. If we get a hold above this price, a possible move back to the upside ranges where Nvidia has been in. Now if we kind of factor in the bigger picture for Nvidia is ridiculously overpriced, right? Nvidia is ridiculously overpriced. People have been screaming the AI bubble to get popped for a long time now. I personally don't think the AI bubble has even been formed to pop it. People who think that the AI bubble has been formed and it's Ramsey's a billionaire. Shut up. No, he's not. Ramsey's not a billionaire. Yeah, Ramsey's not a billionaire. What are you talking about? I would know if Ramsey was a billionaire because I watch Gordon Ramsay like a madman. Like I just have Hell's Kitchen in the back when I'm trading. Now, however, I'm watching Alone. A good friend of mine put me onto this TV show called Alone because I was watching a TV show on Netflix called Outlast. I was watching a show called Outlast. Quick tip: do not watch this garbage show. Do not watch this show. It is absolutely scripted. I watched this show and I was like, okay, that looks fake. That looks fake. That looks fake. And then when I actually did the research, this guy is a real actor on the movie sets. He's a real life actor, and all of a sudden he now goes into a survival show, and he does acting so well that you almost believe that he's actually trying to survive in the woods all by himself. I call bullshit. Do not watch this show. This show sucks. It's absolutely scripted. I hate it. But because how much I loved the idea of the show, I was talking to my buddy about it, and he put me onto Alone. Alone is a pretty good TV show. They have tons of series. It's from history, tons of series, and this is legitimate. It looks so legit. If this one's fake, I'm going to be pretty upset. I'm on season 2 and I'm loving it. I would urge you guys to watch it if you haven't already. But Gordon Ramsay, not a millionaire, but 220 million sounds a little low. 220 million sounds low for Gordon Ramsay. In 2020, he was a 70 millionaire on the net worth side, but now apparently he's 220. That seems too low. Did you know that Gordon Ramsay actually has there you go. If you go to oh, that's not the one. I can't find it. Anyways, if you go to any of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants, he always has an item on his menu now that starts with idiot because of all the hype. Oh wow, look at that diner market pulling right back, huh? Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. But as I was saying, Gordon has every single one of his restaurants on his menu something named with an idiot. It's because of the whole idiot sandwich thing. He has an idiot pizza, he has an idiot pasta, he has an idiot burger. So he has something named idiot everywhere on his menus. It's a cool idea. I love Ramsay, man. I love Ramsay. Gordon just opened a new restaurant in New York City. I mean, why not? He's rich. He's rich. But not a billionaire. But not I would estimate most of the times these numbers are bullshit anyways. These net worth numbers, like they're guessing, they're looking for a ballpark. Most of the time they don't get it right. And I would say this is one of that situations. I think he's at least in the 500 million. I would think he's at least in the 500 million of net worth. 220 just seems way too little for somebody who's been working his ass off all of his life. Just working his ass off all of his life. Someone to look up to. And yeah, he looks like a dick in TV shows, but apparently an absolute beautiful human. When you hear him talk about life and you know what he had to go through, just makes you appreciate him a lot more. You understand his rudeness, you understand his brashness at that point, and you go, okay, I can see where you're coming from. But the beauty is he always looks for the good in people, but not in the kitchen. Not in the kitchen. In the kitchen, you screw up, you're getting yelled at, and that's the comedy of it. I gotta love Ramsay. Micron still stuck in this box, but this box is looking like it wants to crack lower. So watching how Micron reacts. Lots of downgrades recently. Lots of downgrades from no-name companies, and also downgrades from real name companies like the banks, Jefferies, Morgan Stanley, and so on. They're all downgrading Micron to $100. We're about $15 away from 100. So technically, the stock should go up $15 on that downgrade, but the stock is, right now stuck in a beautiful boxed area. Once again, bring in the compression mentality. We are compressed between two areas where the buyer and the seller are fighting. Eventually, when one side gives out, we get the breakout to that side for us to play with. So have Micron on the watch list without a doubt, along with Nvidia and all the other fun stuff. I would still continue to ignore AMD, but that's my call. You do what you want to do if you want to trade that. I'm just going to ignore AMD. Intel back under 22 again. Intel back under 22 again and selling off almost back to $20. Now, I did mention that looking short on Intel could be a risky gamble because of the action that we've been forming in the most recent history. We've got a beautiful double bottom, we got a triple top. The more times, or quadruple top, the more times the stock tests a specific level, eventually that level's gonna go. It is just erosion, right? Think of it as basically what it is. There's size on the level. The more times we keep testing that level, eventually the seller is going to walk away and sell at a higher price. If he knows that he can get short at a higher price and make more money on the flush, why would he still continue to take that 20 pressure, right? Or 22 pressure? So ideally, the level is going to break. Either from exhaustion of taking out the whole size, or the seller moves to a higher price because he does not want to take the damage at this price. So you want to see the sellers walking away from this 22 area. You want to see this level being printed more because that opens up this beautiful gap fill on Intel, who's been struggling a lot. Intel has been struggling a lot. Go check out Victor's stream that we did. We talked about Intel quite a bit on his stream, but here's basically the gist of that points that he brought up. What the hell? That's not Intel. Here's the gist of what he brought up on Intel right here. Those numbers are not good, right? Even Palantir is growing 20% per year. Intel, what's going on? 80% of the world runs on Intel. I made that number. I have made that number up. Let's go Google it. Or let's use AI to Google it. Oh, what is this? Unexpected. You gotta love AI, boys. You gotta love unexpected. What? I mean, this is pretty cool, though. You pretty much get the gist of what Powell was talking about during the conference and a nice little summary of it. Anyways, this is not what we were here for. How many computers in the world run on Intel? 63%. Okay, I was off by about 20%. For laptops and CPUs specifically, Intel accounted for 71% of benchmark results in Q2 2024. So in laptops and CPUs aspect, what's the other one? In third quarter 2024, 86X computers processor test records were from Intel. Okay, so most recent numbers, you're seeing that Intel only accounts for about 63%, but overall they have anywhere from 63 to 80%. Let's say 63 to 60 to 70% of market share. How are you still turning red? 70% of the world's computers run on Intel computing, Intel Inside, more like dead inside, because you're dying. You're absolutely dying. You're not growing. My computer runs on an i9, I believe. Is it an i9? Boom. i7, wow, I suck. I'm using a lower tier computer. I thought I was at an i9, but i7's decent. It's not bad, but i9 is like the top of the top tier, the primo of the primo, right? But this is not bad. i7's fine. I've always had Intel chips in my computers. I'm a big fan of AMD over Intel, but I never really use AMD chips because I've seen the issues with AMD chips, the overheating, the struggling, but AMD chips have been getting a lot better from where they used to be. So my next chip, whenever I do upgrade, most likely an AMD chip, right? Just to let you guys know. But It's crazy to see a company that has 70% market share only bringing in 1% growth year to year. 1% growth year to year, down 14% last year, down 20% the year before that, and then you have single digit growths on the other on the years before that. So not looking good at all on Intel. The weakness continues to be obvious. So any pops into 22 and finding rejection around this 22 to 2250, looking for a short. If the S&P 500 looks weak, looking for a short, looking for a move back down. This is the perfect failed breakout on Intel. Perfect failed breakout that could take us right back into 1850, where it could flip long again, where it could flip long, do whatever it wants to do. Going down my watch list to see what stocks I'm really interested for. Here's one, Meta. Meta, one of the stronger Magnificent Seven stocks. We've already established this point. If market breaks out tomorrow, this is your number one priority. If the market breaks out tomorrow, this is your number one priority, because Meta, you can easily see this above 545 and running into like 550, 555 or higher. Meta has an ATR of $10, $14. Meta has an ATR of $14. ATR stands for average true range. Why does that matter? When you're making an algo, when you're programming an automated trading system, you need parameters, right? You need variables, parameters that you can base it off of. You can't tell a code to think like you without actually writing the lines of code to make it think like you. So most of the times these algos have an ATR based profit system. That's why you will see stocks trade their one ATR and then pull back a little bit and then make the second leg. So ATRs are great profit targets, and then they're also great reversion targets. If a stock goes straight from the open to the high and makes a one ATR move without any pullback and showing you buying, usually that ATR high or that ATR low could be used for a quick little mean reversion scalp. That's a nice little hint for you, for those of you who want to add a trading strategy to your watch list. For example, today I shorted, I'm trying to remember what I shorted, GIS. GIS reported earnings, gap down, but had an insane rally to the north side. So if you watch GIS off the open, it gapped down. It had a decrease of 1% year to year. Not a big decrease, but still a decrease of 1% year to year. Gapped lower and then ripped to the north side. Straight one-shot move into yesterday's high. Where do I get short? Right into this consolidation here. And then I'm looking for that big move below VWAP. That big move below VWAP never came into play. So I quickly took my 50 cents and I walked away from the trade. Later on, when the S&P 500 was wiggling off with the FOMC, this stock completely rejected that area and pulled to the downside. That was the move I was looking for, but I didn't really get that move when I wanted. But this is the idea. When you get one ATR move straight from the bottom to the upside, that is a good mean reversion spot to get in. Just wait for the sellers to show up. Once the sellers show up, then you can start getting short. Use that stop above the day high and then get a beautiful risk to reward scalp that could potentially be turned into a real trade. However, as most people say, the trend is your friend. The stock gapped lower and then ripped higher. Wouldn't it just be easier to get long into VWAP for the run back into high a day or a bigger move? Yes, it would be possible. But for me, the company does not really have that much juice to continue rallying higher, because they actually decrease year to year. Yeah, they're making money. They're making $1 per share. Technically, if you just add this up 4 quarters a year, they're making $4 a year, right? They're making $4 a year. Still making money. They're not Palantir making 20 cents a quarter. They're not Snowflake losing money, whose PE is 125 or something crazy like that. So gotta keep these variables, the financial side, as Victor kind of taught us a little bit of how to take a look at the financials of a stock to get the bigger picture. Take a look at the financials to understand that, okay, yeah, maybe Intel is getting above 22, but the financials don't necessarily scream bullish. For example, Snowflake, yeah, they're growing big time, right? They were growing 100% a year, but now they're declining on their growth. 69%, 69, 35%, 31%. All in all, even though they're showing growth, they don't make any money at all. So if you go to Snowflake, forward PE of 120, no PE at the moment, and anytime you don't see PE being put in for a stock, that means they're not really profitable. They're making 18 cents per share. This is a cloud computing company, and we've seen cloud computing company take a little bit of a beating recently, such as Cloudflare, what's the other one, CrowdStrike, and so on. Maybe that's causing a little bit of a bearishness and negative sentiment for these positions. But overall, not showing growth on Snowflake is not necessarily a good thing. I'm still deciding if I want to buy the stock for my swing trade account, for my long-term account. I'm going to analyze this action a little bit more. If we push into 10, what is the all-time low? 107. If we push into 107 and have a fail breakout of 107 and then start climbing back above 107, that might be my trigger to add the stock to a swing account. For a day trade, you're just patiently waiting to see how the stock behaves as we push down into this 108, 107 area. Possible breakdown below 107 for a bigger write down. They guided lower. Yeah, they've guided profits, but they also weren't actually growing drastically as we want them to. So all things looking bearish over here. Keeping an eye on Snowflake as we get ready to marinate this level into 107. Charles Schwab, looking for the pullback on the market. If the market pulls back, looking for the pullback on the XLF. Notice the terminology. If the market pulls back, think of yourself as a programming language. You are a programming language, and this is how your code works. If market sells off, then you pull up XLF. Then if XLF is selling off, then you pull up Charles Schwab, and then you get ready to analyze the action into $61 and get either short through 61 or get ready to get long back through 61 to the upside. So 61 over here on Charles Schwab. Keep this one on watch. I'm not saying that it has to come into play tomorrow, but if it does, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Couple other stocks that are on the list over here. Moderna, failed breakout back to the upside and now straight back down. Dell and Palantir, the S&P 500 inclusions. Dell finding trouble into 120 over here. Palantir finding a little bit of buying action today, but that got negated really quickly off of Friday's high, Tuesday and Monday's high. So watching Palantir over here without a doubt, and obviously Friday Palantir gets added to the S&P 500 index, which is only 2 days out, so making sure you keep that in mind. Oracle giving you a little bit of a sell-off off that 170 area, but still holding above Monday's low, still holding above Monday's low or around Monday's low. If we start getting below Monday's low on Oracle, that opens up some room, but we still have the earnings anchored VWAP into 160. You still have all of this action into 160. So looking for a big move below 165 would be a little crazy. You might want to see how 160 behaves on the move down. If we start getting weak into 160 on Oracle, that could give us the gap fill to the downside. But in my opinion, with how strong the stock reported earnings, with the most recent catalyst after the earnings report, which is an upgrade on the 2026 guidance, upgrade on the 2029 guidance. We don't know about the period in middle. We don't know about the 3 years in the middle, but they upgraded 2026 and they upgraded 2029. So if those end up working out that way, you know, this stock technically shouldn't be weak. So we should find buyers off what seems to be the average price for the earnings move, right around $160. So waiting for Oracle to go back down there. Oracle does have a $5 ATR, so finding weakness into 165 should take it right back into 160 for one full ATR move. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. So should give you a straight one ATR move down into this 160 area. LUNR. Let's go to small cap names. Oof. These Zins are murderous. These Zins are murderous. You can put them in your mouth for like a little bit and then boom, they just kill you. These 6 milligram cans are insane. Oof. You guys can guess what's in this cup. I'll donate. Nothing. I was trying to make a joke, but as I thought of the joke in my head, it didn't sound too good. So I'm just gonna refrain from saying it. Don't want to get canceled. My YouTube career is just getting started. Don't want to get canceled. So I'll just shut up about it. Why are you still taking them? What am I still taking? Oh, the Zins. Because I'm addicted, dude. Come on. I'm addicted. Because it feels good, okay? It feels good. It wakes you up. It flows the dopamine through your brain cells, and the dopamine just flows, baby. It just flows. My brain clearly can't create its own dopamine, so I need external influences to help me create dopamine at this point. Or I'm just gonna be sad and depressed. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. LUNR. So LUNR, let's go actually get that number that they where is it? There. Was it 5 billion? Okay, roughly 5 billion space network contract from NASA. So I was correct by saying that number. So around $5 billion worth of contract being offered to LUNR. That popped up the stock by 38%. It was actually much higher than 38%. It was up almost 55%, 60% at one point. And then pulling back, still ending green on the day by 38%. As long as the stock stays above $7, I think there is more room to the upside on LUNR. It's I'm not gonna say it's a small float. Let's go take a look at it actually. How big is the float for the stock? The float is 62 million, so it's not like 12 million like PLCE, right? It's not 12 million, but 62 million is also not Palantir 2 billion. So decent enough of a float for where action could be volatile in this position. And at the same time, out of the 63 million shares outstanding, we have 25% short flow on LUNR. So anyone who's short on this position, they are asking for pain at the moment as the stock gets ready to put them into ask them a question. If you're short, the stock is going to ask you a question. Where is your stops? Maybe some of the stops got blown out on the way up here, but now we're gonna most likely see more stops getting ready to be scared the longer the stock holds above $7. So keep this one on watch. Don't get hurt at all. Maybe Johnny Walker Red or Jim Beam is in the cup. What the hell is Jim Beam? No, this is just Pepsi. This is just Pepsi, but I hate Pepsi. I hate Pepsi. Pepsi's so bad. It tastes... It's not Coca-Cola. You put Coca-Cola and Pepsi in front of me and blind taste test me, I will get 100% correct as to which one is what. 100% of the time. I will not fail this test. If anyone ever wanted to put money on it, I'll do it. If you're not gonna put money on it, don't even talk shit. Don't even talk shit. I could win the blind Coca-Cola challenge without a problem. 100 for 100. 100 out of 100. Because I hate Pepsi so much as I continue to finish the last few drops. Ugh. Sucks. Okay. Basically, we're done with my watch list. All the main stocks I wanted to talk about and I've hit for you. There's nothing else to really talk about over here. Keep in mind, QQQ did make a little bit of a pop over here in the after hours, and that pop got stuffed. Same with the S&P 500. Both the markets made a little bit of a pop here in the after hours, or should I say the overnight session. But those pops seem to have got stuffed right back, and the market is basically just trickling lower and lower and lower. The question is what happens tomorrow. I personally think the market is going to sell off tomorrow, But I hope I'm wrong for you bulls. I hope I'm wrong for you bulls out there in the market. It is 9 o'clock, and I feel like I have stretched the content long enough for us to fill in an hour time slot. Usually I want to be live for at least an hour for you guys, so I'm glad that we were able to fill in an hour time slot. But most of it was me just screaming QQQ and the S&P 500. Right? I already said that was going to be the name of the game today. I did mention at the start of the stream that today's stream is just going to be me screaming QQQ and SPY. Hopefully you were not annoyed by that. Sadly, this is going to be exactly how the next few streams are going to go, because post FOMC, the main moves that I care about are the market moves, right? The market moves. Where does the market move? How does the market digest the FOMC news, and how does it give us opportunities? That's the only thing that I care about. After that, we're going to get back to the regular schedule, looking at earnings, looking at after hour movers, looking at everyday movers, and so on. So I'm just warning you guys a little bit, right? Warning you, if you get bored of me singing QQQ and SPY every single day, I apologize right now. I apologize right now. Market pullback, is it going to happen? I hope so. I hope so. Because I'm ready more for the short side than I am for the long side. I'm ready for the short side way more than I am for the long side. I personally can't see this market being ridiculously strong, at least without a decent pullback, a decent correction. So being patient, not gonna let my negative and bearish sentiment make me force trades to the short side. If the price action is screaming long and strong, then stay away from the shorts, right? If the market price action is screaming strong and long, stay away from the price, stay away from the shorts. Get ready to get long. Get ready to get long. As simple as that. Let me show you the economic calendar. Not much besides really that 8:30 number. We have the continuing jobless claims, and you have a bunch of Philadelphia numbers also coming out at 8:30. Sometimes these Michigan numbers do move the market, but you know, the FOMC and the jobless claims are a much bigger catalyst than any of these Philly numbers or the Michigan numbers that come out this week. So I am more so looking at the 8:30 number over here, the initial jobless, the continuous jobless. How does the market react off this number? We have a couple bill auctions at 11:30, then a tips auction at 1 o'clock. Not expecting too much of a play over there. 10 o'clock, we got existing home sales. I talked about this briefly. If you are looking to trade home builders and so on off of the FOMC catalyst, not a bad idea, right? A lot of the home building, home sales, and so on have been taking a beating because of the interest rates. But now that the interest rates are getting ready to go back down, these might start getting active again. So keep an eye on this. LEN actually reports tomorrow after hours, and tomorrow 11 o'clock, is it 11? 10 o'clock, we also have existing home sales. So that number could move stocks like Home Depot, Lowe's, and also move companies like LEN. So watch these names if you're interested to trade a news event like that. Besides that, nothing else to really talk about. There is one IPO coming out on the 26th or the 24th. No, 26th of September. So we'll talk about that on the 25th, which will be Wednesday of next week. So Wednesday next week, we'll talk about this IPO BKV. Make sure to tune in on that day at 8 o'clock, because we stream here Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. and Sunday, 6 p.m. Check out my I'm gonna roll in the outro right now. Check out my Linktree page that has access to all of my affiliate sponsors, and also my social media links for those of you who are not connected with me on social media, like X, aka Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Patreon, TikTok. Sorry, I think that's TikTok and that's Patreon. Yeah, TikTok, Patreon. Go check out my social media to be in touch with me. We gotta get rid of the stonks.com over there. Let's do it right now, because that website is now dead to us, right? Stonks.com is now dead to us, chat. Stonks.com is now dead to us. Why can't I log in? Come on. There we go. So let's get rid of this website over here. Boom. Boom. Nah, you got deleted. Bye. Bye, stonks.com. We don't want you anymore. Goodbye. Let's refresh it to see if it's gone. There we go. It's gone. So my affiliate sponsors right down over here. Trade Ideas, TraderSync. Use code PRAD15 to get 15% off at checkout. And then Benzinga Pro. If you haven't seen me use Benzinga Pro yet, come tomorrow 8 o'clock because we'll be taking a look at LEN's earnings report and FDX's earnings report using Benzinga Pro. They not only have news, they also have scanning and charting capabilities on there. So if you want the all-in-one tool, you could just go check out Benzinga Pro. Make sure to do so by clicking on my link over here. I don't really talk about my Patreon because I am against selling courses or selling content to people, but if you choose to support me, allow me to buy a pack of Zins every month. You can do so by becoming a member on YouTube for $5 a month, or you can become a member on Patreon for $15 a month. $15 a month gives you extra benefits such as getting my watch list sent to you in your email every single day in the morning. You can also schedule one-on-one sessions on stream to talk about whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about your trades, you want to talk about psychology, you want to talk about markets, you want to talk about UFC. You can schedule a 1-hour session with me on the stream where we can have some fun, or we can kind of psychoanalyze your trades, and you can do that through Patreon. So some added benefits on Patreon compared to the YouTube members for those of you who choose to support me. But if you don't want to do it, I understand. Nothing wrong with it. It's not mandatory. It's optional. And everything I do is free anyways, right? All I ask for you to do is hit that like, hit that subscribe, so we can grow this dying channel. My channel is dying. I went from getting hundreds of views to only getting 30-40 views a night. 30 to 40 views a night. So the channel is dying. I need your help. Hit that like. Ooh, am I even allowed to show this page? Probably not. I don't know if I'm allowed to show this page. Here, I'll show this page. 174 views less than usual, 21% less impressions, and average view duration of only 9 minutes. Out of an hour-long stream, we're only getting people watching 9 minutes. The only people who are watching the whole stream are probably TH, John, and Dieter. So dying stream over here. Help your boy out. Hit that like, hit the subscribe. For those of you who do that every single day, thank you. You guys mean the world to me. But it is time to call it a night. Good luck on the markets tomorrow. Let's roll in the outro one more time. Good luck on the markets tomorrow. Upside or downside is going to be wild. Either side is going to be wild because of how nothing burger today was. I think tomorrow we're going to actually pick a side and go to it. So have fun. Tomorrow might be a trend day. Friday might be a trend day. We're going to love it going into the end of this week. Good luck. TraderPrad out. See you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Ciao. Joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day. So let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, TraderSync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.